Hello, everybody. What is up? What is up? Let me go ahead and light this incense here. Have a couple decks laid out already. Got $1 Million Dream Home on TV on the back in the background. So, any of you doing that, right? You're like, yes, I want to manifest my $1 Million Dream Home. Sure, why not? Sure, why not? Okay. Just make sure you got enough money for the taxes. That's all I got. That's all I gotta say. Maybe I didn't have that on the right way. Hang on a second. You know, sometimes it's hard to read the labels when the labels are all in the same color, right? There we go. Yeah, compare and contrast. Did we ever learn that in school? Right. Okay. There was a little old wives' tale about cows here. I thought was kind of funny in case you guys are interested in that. It says when a cow tries to scratch its ear, it means a shower is very near. When it thumps its ribs with its tail, look out for thunder, lightning, hail. Okay, so I guess be on the lookout for, changing weather, right? Sometimes it can change rapidly. Hey, relax. Isn't that like how all those like Everest horror stories end up, right? I mean, you're already taking a risk going up a mountain, right? But then it's always like, oh, but the anticipated weather, um, came in faster than expected, or they made the wrong turn facing right into the storm, and then it's all over after that. It's like, okay. You ever hear that song by The Dead called Foolish Heart? Okay. Never check the weather chart. Like, hey, you might want to take an umbrella with you. I'm just saying. What's it hurt? What's it hurt, right? Don't be like that guy in Caddyshack golfing away the best game of his life, and he's like, even the good Lord wouldn't stop me now. Oh, wanna bet? Wanna bet? Right, Bill Murray, exactly. Slowly stepping away, just like our moon is. An inch and a half each year, except Bill Murray was like, we're dropping. I am not the caddy for this show anymore because this dude's gone. He's like, I don't want to explain an act of God. Right? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so yeah, you might be getting some signs, synchronicities in some movies and things of that nature that just kind of, they didn't have to say it, but it just makes sense, All right, snake, shed old skin. Okay. I'm getting the picture of that. Wasn't that a character's name on The Simpsons? The guy on the motorcycle, right? So collective, you could have an image, right, that you're like tough, an image that, you know what I mean, where people might even be afraid to approach you, okay? But that doesn't mean that you act that way. That doesn't mean that you're wearing it, okay? And this is encouraging you to kind of, see the softer side of Sears, right? Okay. Elder, healing through the lineage, okay? Yeah, right. Right, when your elders say, oh, I was a wild buck once like you, you know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. Not every stage of your life lasts indefinitely. Okay? Roll with the changes, right? REO. REO. Sky Father, trust in the unknown. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes, even logically, you're like, why did that happen? Right? And it's like, well, obviously, somebody other than me knows what's going on. Right? Somebody has that eagle eye, that 10,000-foot view. Right? How high does an eagle soar? Okay. So, excuse me while I kiss the sky, right? Earth Mother, feel loved and comforted. Yeah. So, that could be, again, part of shutting this old, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe you're into camping, right? You know, roughing it, going hiking, right? All that stuff. Well, maybe you've had some injuries. Maybe you don't hike as well as you used to anymore. Maybe you have other hobbies now. Right? So people could be like, well, how come you're taking it easy? How come you're not out there doing this and that and the other? And you're like, well, I've done that. Now I'm doing some other things. You know, when I was putting calluses on my feet, now I'm taking them off of my feet. Is that a problem for you? You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing where, you know, literally shedding that old skin. And it might be built up a little bit, but it's just all you gotta do is take that little pumice stone, right? And start going at it. Okay. Again, pumice is a naturally occurring compound as well, right? So use what the earth is giving you to heal, okay, and feel that comfort, all right? This could be also if you're growing herbs. I specifically got sage earlier, but, you know, whatever herbs you guys like, right? So, you know, maybe you don't have a big garden, but maybe you have like a little herb garden or something, and you know, you use that. Maybe, you know, maybe you you know, you can dehydrate that even in your oven, right? um and use that for tea or whatever, right? For kind of like some herbal remedies, okay? So I think it's very important to you right now, collective, that that is part of what you're doing. And this could be driven by things that your elders did. You know, when I made myself some soup the other day and I was drinking that broth, and it was like I felt like in my body like it was fighting an infection. I feel better now. But you know what I mean? At the time I was like, man, I was like, did I feel that bad, or is this that medicine, right? That I you know, that chicken broth and that stuff that was, you know, I spiced it up with, right? That stuff, it was, you know, attacking those germs in my body, saying, hey, we're here to replenish, right? So you see she has her eyes closed. So sometimes when you're replenishing, it might make you tired, right? When your body's healing and growing, okay? Plants grow at a tremendous rate. And you don't see them out running around. They grow in one place, don't they? Oh, right. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shapeshifter. So there's a lot more than one way to blossom, okay, in your life. Transform and unveil your gifts. Because people could be like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Well, you're like, well, you know, maybe you never needed to do it before. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, when Peter Parker's working for the newspaper and he's a photographer, right? Okay. I mean, eventually it's like, as Spider-Man, maybe his responsibilities are going to get so great that he can't work at the newspaper anymore. Maybe they'll finally get a different cameraman. Right? But before he became Spider-Man, he was still there observing, taking pictures, you know, doing his job, doing his duty. Okay. So he was unveiling something, but he didn't know soon to be he was going to be unveiling the gift of himself. Right? And, you know, again, Peter Parker is a good, um, you know, analogy for this because he's, you know, he's also the type that's kind of unexpectedly, right? You know, he's not out there boasting around. He's not out there, you know, playing the field with, you know, 5 different women at a time. You know, like he's not like some Bruce Wayne type, right? You know, Peter has a few friends, he has his gig, he has his, you know what I mean, his family, but you know what I mean. Otherwise, he's kind of, you know, he's kind of chill, right? So, you know, when it comes to pass, it's like that he's swinging around from the building. It's like, oh, that's a different side to you, Peter. Druid, hold the space. Okay, so again, your ancestors, universally, you could be encouraged to hold the space. Hunter, track down your fears and desires. So a lot of masculine energy coming through here as well. So this elder could be a masculine energy also. Okay. And you know what I mean? This could be one of those things where it's like, oh, you know, self-care, that's just for the women. Well, not necessarily. Right? Do you work hard all week? Okay, so on the weekends, is putting your feet up some kind of crime? Shouldn't be. You know, so holding the space to keep yourself in good grace before you turn, you know, aged, right? In your body. So, you know, you have to nourish yourself and, you know, get to the best version of you that you can be, right? Because we're all hoping to get there one day, right? We're all hoping to be, you know, have that elderly respect, right? You know, where maybe people look at you because of your younger years and they'll be like, oh, well, they were running around with this crowd, or oh, they used to do this, or oh, they used to do that. And some of that's just by association, right? Oh, well, you must be like all these other people because that's what they do, and because you do this, and you're like, well, not exactly, but apparently you're small-minded enough to believe that. So, you know what I mean? You're probably like, screw them. Piss off. And now, you know, because you were able to stand up for yourself, it's like you're still going, right? And it's like, yeah, what was that for? What was that all about? You might be asking yourself some of these questions now. You're like, you know what I mean? When you look back and you're like, now what was that all about? Cause what the heck? You know what I mean? When you realize some of these interactions you've had and what it's taught you, you know, overall about people and, you know, standing up for yourself and things of that nature, right? Because, yeah, some people are cool with you as long as you're wearing the Peter Parker uniform, right? But as soon as you put on that Spider-Man uniform, then they got some little attitude about it. Oh, you think you gotta go? Oh, you think you gotta go and be important now? Well, maybe you do. Maybe you're on a job where you're on call or something. I mean, I've had jobs like that where I was on call and it's like you know, your life revolves around that job. It's very, you know, weird feeling and it's, you know, and you have to unwind from that, right? So this could even be one of those things where you're coming off of that, where you were on call and now you're not. And it's like, okay, now who are you on call for? Yourself. And it's like, all right, what are you going to tap into and share so that people understand? You know? So that you can kind of hold that space for others in that manner, right? Okay. And you're like, and you might be getting a little weird in the meantime. Okay. Just saying. On the bottom of that, look at that sun card. Leo energy. Leo, I've been reading for you the last few readings, I feel like. So if you're a Leo watching this, take that as a little throw your hands up, okay, into Leo season. Okay. Again, Leo's known to be, very extroverted, life of the party type, blah blah blah. Maybe, now you've gotten older, you're not so, talkative or boisterous or things of that nature. That doesn't mean you don't still express yourself from time to time, right? Maybe you're just more like about picking your moments, okay? You're the kind of Leo, you're like, oh, well, I'm not gonna steal all the shine, okay? But you know what I'm saying? I will, when they call my name, I'm gonna stand up and get applauded. And you're gonna be like, that's right, that's me. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And again, why? Because you're, pouring into yourself to have those good feelings. Okay. Good love. I just got that song, right? Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some tarot. Just using the regular Rider-Waite 78 card deck here. Okay. I just made myself some chicken salad right before this reading, so I replenished myself on this lazy weekend afternoon. Diablo! So somebody could be in your energy collective that is actually a snake, and you need to recognize it. So my apologies to you. Or somebody that wants to come in and kind of, trap you into something, or thinks that you were into something that you were definitely not, and you're like, well, not only am I not into that, but my elders would not be into that neither, and they would be very disappointed. 7 of Pentacles, okay? So yeah, what do your elders tell you to do? Go to work, collect your paycheck, don't worry about so-and-so, right? You know what I mean? The bullies at school. Well, you know what? You can't worry about them because they're so busy running their mouths. They're not listening to the teacher. They're probably going to fail. Mercury retrograde starting to come to an end, isn't it? So this trust in the unknown. So again, where you're like seeing things and it's like, ooh, that doesn't look good. Okay, that might be somebody's karma. Exactly. It doesn't look good. But it's like, oh, yeah, you just gotta, don't read the news, I guess. You know what I mean? If it's that rough. 5 of Pentacles. So, collective, I feel like somebody put you on the outside. And when you, took all that healing energy and put it into yourself, you had that glow up, right? And they were like, oh crap, and now they can only see the glow from, and it's literally like there's stone concrete walls, they're not getting through. Okay. 3 of Cups. So yeah, you could be cutting loose a little bit. Again, this could be one of those things like, oh, I don't ever see you act like that. Well, I don't twerk on the desk at work. No, I don't. But now that I'm out here, at this, promotion party or whatever, yeah, I'll have a few beers. Is that okay with you? You know what I mean? It's people like that you're just like, are these people for real? And honestly, collective, people that act like that, to me, I feel like they have just lived very sheltered lives. Like maybe they never, got to go out of the house until they went to college or something, or until after they left the house and got married. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But it's like some of these people, the way they act, it's like they have never been in public before. You know what I mean? And then they think you're going to run around and act a fool and all this stuff, and you're just like, what are you talking about? And you're like, you sound stupid. Yeah, chariot card. So, I mean, you could get this old waiting for them to get it, or you can hop in that vehicle, right? And, right, you're like, yeah, I got enough gas to get out of here. Bye. Bye. I mean, it's kind of like that. So, Five of Wands, yeah, some people could be wanting to be like, oh, what, you want to battle me, bro? You want to battle me? It's like, dude. And you're like, do you really want to battle me when I'm dressed like this right now, bro? Because I don't think it's going to end up well for you. Right? You're like, don't try me, but if I had to, just, you know, that's part of the fear that they want to instill too, right? Of well, they're not going to say no to me. Watch me. Watch me say no. And then they are going to be looking on from the side saying, man, I wish I could have done that, right? See, and then they're going to hold that space because they're like, yeah, that's pretty badass, actually. Actually. Right? And here you go. And here you go. Alright? So you're like, I ain't got no problems. What's that song that they do the karaoke of when Harry Met Sally? The Surrey with the fringe on top from Oklahoma. Anyway, that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. So take this message how it resonates. And if it's not your message today, just don't sweat it. You know what I mean? It's like no need to call the fire department, right? Like it's when this Sky Father card, it's Sky Father, not Sky is falling. So anyway, please do like the video, especially if you were in the chat today. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video, but you can become one, and it is the 100% free way to support the channel. But if you are looking to make a monetary donation, my PayPal link is in the About Me and listed in the description box of all of my videos, which is separate from anything YouTube, okay? Because all my readings here on YouTube are free. You pay only with your time, or if you are a subscriber to YouTube, which has nothing to do with me, okay? So your free likes, free sub, definitely helps me deliver these messages to you, right? So take that, do with it what you will. And if you don't like it, right, go start your own channel, right? I mean, I see new creators out there all the time, so if you're sitting there thinking like, yeah, what is stopping me? Okay. Maybe take that time, take that opportunity and, start up a new project, right? You never know until you get in it, right? To see. And, the thing I like about platforms like YouTube is that it's 100% free to do so. All you have to do is create an account and then you're there. And, that's partly why I like being on YouTube as well, because it doesn't really force people to have subscriptions in order to view my content and things of that nature. So, anyway, that's all I really have for this message. Okay, so until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.